my friends, if you're interested in learning how to play the RAV Moon, this video is for you. We're going to talk about strikes, talk a little bit about the tongues and how it's different, and how you can approach playing this, and how it's different than the RAV Vast. So let's take a look at the RAV Moon. All right, the first thing we're going to want to do with our RAV Moon is know the scale. And you can tell which scale you're using by the nameplate on the bottom of the instrument. And every RAV Moon also has another tag here that tells you which scale it is. Next up, whichever way these tongues are facing, so if these are pointing towards your stomach in this direction, this is going to be your lowest note. So if you follow this line from where these swirls are, straight, that's going to be your lowest note. So easy way to find that. Just like other instruments in this family, it follows the same order: center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When we're striking this instrument, we're going to be using a slightly different strike area than on the RAV Vast. On the Vast, we're going for the lowest part of the tongue for the best sound and the higher for more percussive. The Moon has a different shape tone field, so it's a little more flexible in where you can strike it. Like, I can get a noise pretty much anywhere in this area. But to get most of the fundamental and the least of the harmonics, I'm going to want to aim for the larger of these sections here. So in this case, I'm aiming here. If I was hitting this note, I'm aiming down here. RAV set it up so it's very ergonomic for your hand, so your hand kind of naturally wants to go in that area. But if you're not getting a good strike, it's probably because you're not striking the right area. That's all. Second thing, just like on the RAV, just like on a handpan, the RAV Moons want you to do a flick down and let your hand bounce off. And same thing with your pointer finger. I'm starting with my hand about an inch from the top, and I'm flicking down with my finger. And I'll give you a different view of this, like this, doing like this. That type of strike is going to give you the most bounce back with the least movement in a large sense. The more movement we have, the less clean our strikes are going to be. So we really want to find a way to minimize our large movements and maximize the small movements that we're doing. Now, unlike the RAV Vast, this instrument has a lot more harmonics that are audible in a normal strike. So as long as we aim for this larger of the two circles, or half moons, we're going to get most of the fundamental and a little bit of the harmonics. If we want to get the harmonics, we can take the instrument and either hit right where this little slice is right here, or right here. So if we have the instrument the right way with the one facing towards us, you can hear a strike there. And this is kind of like a shoulder tone on a handpan. All of the RAV Moons that I own have that same capacity, where if you hit there, you can get a higher pitch sound. This is used really when you're playing something you want to add a little percussive element to it, because other than that area, the RAV is a very clean sounding instrument, so it takes a good strike to have a really loud contact noise, if that's the sound you're looking for. One thing you'll notice with the Moons, instead of having the wing strikes for the harmonics, the easiest way to get the harmonics on here is really just to hit where this indent is. And it's true for both sides. And it's similar to if you were just to do a mute strike on a handpan and then strike the instrument. And again, the shoulders as well are really easy to access. So next up is learning to work with the sustain on this. The RAV Vast has a very quick rise that's simultaneous with the harmonics and the fundamental. The RAV Moon has a little bit of the fundamental at first, and then the harmonics rise out of that. And this is very much like a handpan. It's a bloom in the same way that a handpan has a bloom, especially stainless steel instruments. So we can make use of this by activating it and getting some of the other notes to move and to sympathetically resonate. So if people are looking for a good droning sound, something for sound healing or meditation, the Moon is great because you can keep a very steady drone. And play something that's very slow, very intimate, and very beautiful. The same goes for harmonics and fundamentals on diads and triads. And I'm being a little less particular when I'm playing a triad or dyad on the Moon. I'm still aiming for that larger area, but I'm not being super obsessive about being exactly in that spot. But you will notice if you're not in the right spot, it's not going to sound as loud as your RAV will. But if you're in the right spot, it's going to sound just as loud as a RAV or a handpan. And here are the chords and diads on here. And this is a D major as well. All right, so if I was to play a piece on this, I would want to be aware of how the sustain was ringing out. So I wouldn't necessarily want to be going unless I liked the notes on that scale mixing together. So we can control the sustain by a couple different methods. We can either plan what we're playing so that we're playing notes that work really well together, or we can kind of accept the instrument as a whole large chord and work from that. So I'll give you an example. Here's an example of a faster piece and a slower piece. And here's a little bit of a slower example. So as you probably noticed in the sound demo, the sustain is very different, and the way the harmonics and fundamental kind of rise and fall means that you have to play the RAV Moon in a different way than the RAV Vast. I think this is a strength because it allows you to write in a new way. Every time I pick up a new handpan or I work with a new maker, I have to kind of reevaluate my playing style and adapt it to that instrument. The RAV Moon is going to inspire people to approach it in a different way than the RAV Vast. And I think that's honestly the value of having this instrument available is that it changes the way that you think about your own writing, and you learn to work within the parameters of the instrument that you're playing. Some people are going to like the sustain, and other people might find it hard to deal with. In general, sustain is not a problem if you are an adaptive player. There was a complaint in the beginning of stainless steel handpans. They're like, oh, they have too much sustain. Now everybody has stainless steel instruments. So it's really learning to work with the material that you're using, or the instrument that you're using in this case, and writing material that works for that instrument. I wouldn't write something that was very moody and meditative and play it on a nitrided instrument, unless it was a really, long sustained nitrided instrument. So it's the same is true for this. What you play on the RAV Vast will definitely work on the RAV Moon, but it's going to inspire you to write different music or to improvise differently because of the sustain and the way the notes ring up. So I love it. I'm super happy with it. And if you are looking for one-on-one Zoom lessons on your RAV Moon or your RAV Vast or your handpan, I offer song-based music lessons for all skill levels. And I have students from all over the world. I work with about 900 students a year. So I have done quite a few lessons over the last 6 years. And I'm confident that we can help you develop not just the ability to play, but a playing style that matches what you want to do and where you want to take it. So I'd love to work with you. Enjoy your RAV Moon if you just picked one up. And look for reviews of all of the scales coming soon. But this was a good introduction for this instrument. Talk to you guys soon. Happy playing.